Hi guys, it's me, Gordon, and welcome to my third commentary. You know, if China, Illinois is my favorite Adult Swim show, and if Aqua Teen Hunger Force is my second favorite, then 12-Ounce Mouse would be my third favorite. The show is about a mouse named Mouse Fitzgerald, or Fitz for short, who commits crimes with his best friend, a chinchilla named Skillet, while working for his bosses, Shark and the rectangular businessman, so that he can buy more beer. But as the series progresses, the show becomes less comical and humorous as it deals with Fitz remembering his suppressed memories about his now missing family and trying to find about the truth of his past while having himself and his friends maintain their survival from their crumbling hometown. Or at least that's the way I think it happens. I haven't seen the entire show yet. The other main characters consist of a peanut cop named Peanut Cop and a gangsta wizard named Golden Joe. Unfortunately, because of poor ratings, I guess, the show got cancelled in 2006 before the plot could be resolved, and the only Season 3 episode aired on Adult Swim's website in 2007. However, because it went from an immature comedy to a dark and dramatic one, its deliberately poor animation and low budget, and the theme song by 9 Pound Hammer, 12-Ounce Mouse gained an underground cult following. In other words, you might as well call this the Invader Sim of Adult Swim, and my favorite example of Cerebus syndrome. Unfortunately, there are some people who hate this show, and one of them is one of my favorite reviewers, the mysterious Mr. Enter. You know, the guy that made those animated atrocities and admirable animations videos? Well, he's doing an animated atrocities review on the first episode of 12-Ounce Mouse. Now, what's that you said in your review of Everyone Knows It's Spendy Mystery? That even good shows have bad episodes? Well, your review is an example of that. So everyone, I want you to know that unlike my previous 2 commentaries, I don't like this video. Want to know why I think that? Well, let's find out, take a look at it, and begin, shall we?
Okay, what are we doing today?
Skillet, come on, let's go. We'll be right back.
Wait, guys.
What?
Oh, come on, baby.
Manpower, go!
Why? The show looks like it was drawn by a 4-year-old with muscle atrophy, and written like someone in the process of having their brain fried by heroin.
Well, that's the joke, isn't it? Oh, that's right, you don't know much about it. Well, Mr. Enter, the animation is purposefully done that way because Matt Malero, the creator of the show, used this as the primary joke. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Enter, but don't you like Aqua Teen Hunger Force? I mean, Matt Malero was one of the 2 people that brought us that show.
I've watched several episodes of the show, and I'll...
See what I meant a bit earlier? He only watched several episodes of the show and didn't even bother to research the premise. You had plenty of time to research what this show is all about, but no, you had too much pressure and backbreaking work because you now have 1,000 subscribers. I know you want to get on with it and review Season 5 of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, but come on, you can do better than that! Besides, you haven't done it yet. You have plenty of time to review that season.
I'll tell you what, my fever dreams have more coherent plots. I've had paranoid delusions with better humor. I could draw better with my feet. The only reason the show wasn't on my worst of 2000s list is because I barely considered a show. Like, I barely considered animation. And it's one of the most popular shows that I've ever given a negative review to. Or at the very least, it has a cult following like Invader Zim or Duckman. And the fans probably think that I hate the show purely for its art style.
You should take off your shirt.
What?
Just lie down in the bed. Okay, and roll camera. And action. Come on, get on now.
Although this is a comfortable bed,
Kiss it.
I
can promise you that that's not true. But I do have to talk about the art style. It's going to prove a huge distraction if I don't.
Well, if that's the case, then why aren't you going to talk about the other aspects of this show/episode?
Now, the cited reason the show looks like this is because of budget issues.
No, it's animated like that because that's the joke.
Many Adult Swim shows claim that they need to have a cheaper looking animation because of budget constraints. You know, like those Hanna-Barbera cartoons of the 70s that look better than this.
Freddy Cat is made by Filmation, not Hanna-Barbera Productions.
Or the Flash-based shows in the mid-2000s that look better than this. Or anyone who's animating on the internet who looks better than this. I mean, Flash was developed almost entirely to make animation cheaper. Before this show came out. What program were you using? Adobe Fart? Do you know why most internet animation done with little to no budget looks vastly better than 12-ounce mouse? That's because budget tends not to determine character design. Do you know what it takes to get a good character design? Some talent, a piece of paper, and a pencil. Is time a problem? The show isn't like South Park where they write it a week before it airs. They have plenty of time, and they really don't do any of the pulp culture shit. Remember the early Simpson shorts on the Tracy Ullman show where Matt Groening used drawings he made in like 5 minutes? Even they look better than Osmo here. I'm gonna get into the show now, but there's no way I can talk about it without the animation continually creeping back up here. I mean, it's a cartoon. Animation is a very important part of a cartoon. But, as they say, beauty is only skin deep. Let's see the more in-depth stories that this show can tell with its limited animation. After all, both the works of Don Hertzfeldt and South Park have terrible animation, but they manage to be good in spite of that. This is a legitimate question.
Hey, who turned off the beats? That was my jam!
Do you need to be high or drunk to actually get anything out of the show? It's a legitimate question. But back on topic, the title sequence shoots another hole in the budget excuse. If you could afford this many pyrotechnics, you should be able to afford some kind of art.
Actually, Mr. Enter, you can make an explosion without a big budget. Don't believe me? Let me tell you. Good morning, class. Today we'll be learning how to make a low-budgeted explosion. Step 1. Put black powder anywhere you like. Step 2. Light it on fire. And step 3. Watch the magic happen. You see, Mr. Enter? It's simple.
The first thing that happens is a mouse crashes a plane into a telephone pole near a place offering jobs. I think. I told you these animation problems are gonna come back. Yeah, I can't tell what most things are supposed to be. At a bare minimum, your animation is supposed to differentiate what everything is. Without it, I may as well be hearing a radio show while staring at my refrigerator. I get just as much necessary feedback. Oh boy, this is gonna hurt. But let's see if the writing stands a chance. The mouse walks into an office, I think. He talks to what I think is a shark about getting a job. Meanwhile, there's a clock that keeps ticking over everything. I'm told that this is supposed to be funny.
Yeah, you wanna remember that line for me because later he's not gonna talk about the plot much.
do something.
I am. I did.
What
It's
did you
already
do?
done.
Are people just being sarcastic when they say that this is a really deep and funny show? Is it like some big joke that I'm not a part of? Or once again, do I need to be stoned off my ass? The main joke here is clearly the clock, and it's not remotely funny.
What did you do?
I helped you.
Are you drunk?
You see, the point of animation is to convey what's happening to the audience. You have conveyed nothing! Explaining why this is a wrong move is kind of like explaining why not having frame-to-frame continuity is a wrong move. Without it, you're technically not even a part of the media. And no, I don't hate minimalism. This is minimalism, used correctly. This is lazy garbage.
I don't know. Maybe it's trying to be stylistic suck? Come on, Mr. Enter. What you're doing is stupidity. By the way, about that mentioning of postmodernism in that disclaimer caption, the main reason why I hate this video sucks in 3, 2, 1.
Postmodernism. This is gonna be fun. Postmodernism is a very difficult thing to talk about because there's no agreed upon definition. Bad postmodernism tends to look like this, though. The philosophy exists to challenge certain structures, rather than to be something in and of itself. To truly understand 12-ounce mouse, we need to ask what it represents.
Deactivated. Good call. Not so much.
Seriously? Postmodernism? See, that's the one reason why I hate this video. It's because his main criticism with 12-ounce mouse is that it's failing at being a postmodernist show, which it really isn't. See, Mr. Enter, this is why you should research this show more. But you guys could say, but gee, man. And Mr. Enter is just giving out the primary reason why he hates this show. It's not a good reason, but at least it's not a hassle. Yeah, it wouldn't be a hassle if he didn't talk about it for the majority of the episode.
Despite my reputation, believe it or not, I don't like doing this, because I almost always find the work tedious and pretentious. And postmodernism always has that cheap cop-out that if it's done badly, they say that it's a commentary on postmodernism itself. Let me stop that train of thought right now. If this is a postmodern commentary on postmodernism, it's saying that postmodernism is an excuse for lazy people to be pretentious in their laziness and lack of skill. Alright, let's start with the obvious, having less of an art style. What is this postmodernist work? Tell us about the importance of having good art in your cartoon. Well, if you don't have one, your work will look like shit, but people will still defend your show on the basis that you're not looking, like, deeply into it, man. Alright, to be fair, I don't think the 12-ounce mouse here is trying to question what is necessary to be a cartoon. And this is why I really don't like postmodernism.
Listen, Mr. Enter, 12-ounce mouse is not a postmodernism show. It's a stylistic suck/Cerebus syndrome show. God, if it weren't for your desire to review Season 5 of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, you would have reviewed this episode properly. Your notebook description on DeviantArt was more of a review than your actual review. Oh well, I guess this is what happens when you have a massive fanbase and a crap load of subscribers.
It often comes off like speeding through a school zone to question why speeding is against the law. If you're devoted to it, it's going to cause a messy disaster. And most people can see why these things are in place. Postmodernism's purpose is to show that there are no universal truths. Mostly in art, I hope. I mean, there's a full philosophy about it, and that might require a full video, but I mean, if you believe that you can build a building any way you want, and you think it won't fall down, you're a moron.
Come on, Enter, talk about the characters, the plot, get on with it.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it!
If you believe that art can be made in any way you want, and people won't despise it, you've obviously never seen Freddy Got Fingered or Serbian Film. But I'll give this show the benefit of the doubt and address 12-ounce mouse on its own terms. It can be one of two things. It's either data art, which I refuse to take seriously. Data art is the high culture equivalent of calling someone names on the internet. Or it's postmodernism. In this scene, we have a long period of time with the clock taking dominance. This most likely represents the long lingering scenes in shows like Family Guy.
Oh God, why do you have to be so judgmental? Why? Just why?
Okay, your comment on them is that they are boring and tedious as hell. That is a great insight. Thank you for challenging me and believing that I could not come to that conclusion myself. Also, almost everyone in the show talks like they're stoned, and I think I know what that one represents.
Hey, Skillet. Do I smoke pot? Just what I thought. Sorry, Johnny, but the only stoner around here is Peanut Cup. So why won't you mind your own beeswax and leave us the hell alone?
So, the shark gives Mouse his job. This probably represents that in adult cartoons, the protagonist will be allowed to do anything if it gets to a debatably interesting plot. Okay, Mr. Postmodernism, you've created a simulacrum of what you're trying to critique. Now you have to deconstruct that. Oh, what was that? You don't do that? You just bring out the bullet points and go from one to another? Then you fail!
Get on with it!
Postmodernism is there to challenge you, treat you smartly. It's here to get you to ask why these conventions are put in place. By just taking the bullet points and boiling them down, it treats you like an idiot. That's another thing. Good postmodernist art does not drop every single convention in the art it's trying to comment on, like this show does. If you want me to appreciate the architecture in my own country, you don't drop me in another country where I can't speak the language and I don't know the culture or the customs, and expect me to be thankful for one specific thing. I'll just want to go home. So the mouse, who is supposedly the hero, gets a job, drives the plane drunk, forces someone into a porno, and then robs a bank. You'd probably have some very insightful commentary, but you don't seem to understand what you're commenting on.
Okay, guys. This is the only subsequent time he ever actually talks about the plot.
Heroes in adult cartoons are almost entirely sociopaths. By making Mouse a sociopath, what are you trying to say about sociopathic heroes? Seriously, this is just point-for-point repetition. You ever see that painting, This Is Not a Pipe? I feel like this is saying, this is not a hero. No shit! In the painting, it was a logical trick that you were supposed to think through. Here it's stating the fucking obvious! In shows like Archer, or Rick and Morty, or Family Guy, or even American Dad, we know the main character isn't heroic or upstanding, or even the most moral person there. He has crippling flaws, and is usually unlikable. And there's generally a reason for that, one that this show does not comment on. But seriously, the whole plotline of this episode is mostly nonsensical. Only if it's by a person who doesn't know how to make postmodern art work, or didn't put much thought into it. If you want to see good postmodern art, I'd recommend the works of Don Hertzfeldt. See his film here, The Meaning of Life? I'll devote a future review to explaining some of this stuff, but you see this film here, it actually comments on the meaning of life, or at least it comments on what people perceive the meaning of life to be.
Mr. Enter, I'm going to repeat myself. 12-Ounce Mouse is not a postmodernism show. Listen, if 12-Ounce Mouse was an example of postmodernism, then people would be speaking like Buddhists. Don't believe me? I'll show you a picture. Still don't believe me? Here. I'll show you this cat and girl strip. Guys, if I'm wrong, correct me, okay?
Or the quest to figure out the meaning of life, without spoon-feeding you any details. He largely abandons coherent plot. His drawings are simplistic, but it truly does have things to say about people and concepts like forever. And it helps you reach your own conclusions. That is the most important aspect of postmodern art. It helps you reach your own unique conclusions. This just throws random assets in your face. 12-Ounce Mouse tells me nothing about anything other than itself. Hell, it doesn't even tell me anything about itself. I've said this before, but it feels like someone truly made a bet to see if people would watch something with as little effort as possible. If it really is postmodern, and this is me giving it the benefit of the doubt, it's like Over Two Rainbows with an aura of pretension about itself. Yes, I have watched multiple episodes. As you go onward, I would say that it suffers from continuity lockout, the reason I'm probably not going to review many anime or total drama series, but the whole thing is like a bad hallucination if the hallucination was weeks away from dying a cancerous death. Postmodernism seeks to show that there—
Can you please shut up about postmodernism? God, you're difficult. I would prefer it if you'd only talk about it for a small portion of the review instead of not the majority of it.
There is no objective or absolute truth in art. It exists to go against conventional wisdoms and established norms. The good ones do this towards unnecessary norms or on wrong wisdoms. There's a common saying in art: you need to know the rules before you can break them. When you know a rule and you understand why it's important, then you can break it and make something like postmodern art. 12-Ounce Mouse never more or less states the obvious. It's like speaking sign language through a megaphone. Even if you never held a megaphone in your life, never seen anything beyond a photograph of one, you probably know what a megaphone is for. If you try to be like the Looney Tunes and you take out the fluid animation, congratulations, you proved that Looney Tunes had good animation, and you've created a piece of crap that realistically proves nothing. If you purposely try to suck, congratulations, you still suck. There's no grand purpose to sucking either, especially not here.
To shut the fuck up!
You know, I wonder why internet animation gets such a bad reputation. If someone on the internet made something as bad as this, it'd be as infamous as Sonichu. You put it on TV, everyone says it's really deep and philosophical. I'm done.
Oh, no, you're not. You still have to talk about the plot and the care. No! Alright, you know what? This video sucks. Mr. Enter was baffled with 12-ounce Mouse's cult status and only talked about the plot 3 times. He mentioned the beginning, the part where Fitz kidnaps the rectangular businessman to commit his crimes, the bar scene, the one being in text box form, and that's it. Other than that, all he ever did throughout the video was say that this show has the worst animation of all time and that it sucks at being an example of postmodernism. Enter, I'm disappointed in you. Not because you gave a negative review of 12-ounce Mouse. No, I'm okay with you critiquing 12-ounce Mouse. But you did a poor job of critiquing it. I expected more from you, Mr. Enter. I expected a review, not a rant. And I'll say this one more time. 12-ounce Mouse is not postmodernism. This is what happens if you don't research very well. You'll wrongfully mistake something for something else. I haven't seen the entire series either, but at least I did my research. So guys, let this be a lesson to all. Sometimes there are things more important than reviewing something that you want to review. Like this. Before I go, I want to say something to my viewers. I forgot to mention in my response video that the reason why I showed that footage clip from the dropped Battletoads pilot in my previous commentaries is because Navigator got the rights to Battletoads and Battle Maniacs. And in the same video, the reason why I said that you could barely hear Bugs Bunny is because I wanted to do a joke. By the way, DiCaprio DeLorean, I watched gameplay videos of Super Fantasy Zone, Fantasy Zone, and I didn't find it as exciting and as well constructed of a plot as Chameleon Twist.